So in this video, I'm going to be teaching you some rules for radicals. Radicals are just numbers that are in a root, in a square root or in a cube root. So don't worry about that name, all right? They are just numbers under a square root or a cube root, okay? All right, so I have some rules here for you. So for example, the first rule is that the square root of a over b, of a fraction a over b, is the same thing as saying the square root of a divided by the square root of b. So for example, let's have an example for this one. So that means, like, for example, the square root of 64 over 81 is the same thing as saying the square root of, let me change this. The square root of 64 divided by the square root of 81. Square root of 64 is 8, square root of 81 is 9. Alright, so that's how you can use that rule. The second rule says the square root of AB is the square root of is equal to the square root of A times the square root of B. So for example, the square root of, let's do maybe 125. The square root of 125 is the same thing as saying the square root of 25 times the square root of 5. Alright, so what's the square root of 25? 5. So you can say 5 root 5. Alright, so 5 root 5 is another way of writing square root of 125. Okay, now the third one is square root of a is the same thing as saying 8 raised to the power 1 over 2. Remember rules of exponents. All right, square root of a is the same thing as saying a to the power of 1 over 2. Cube root of a is the same thing as saying 1a to the power of 1 over 3. All right, so for example, if I have square root of 64, it's the same thing as saying 64 raised to the power half. Cube root of 64 is the same thing as saying 64 raised to the power 1 over 3, and so on. 1 over 4, 1 over 5. 1 over 5 will mean the fifth root of 64, for example. All right, so square root is 1a raised to the power 1 over 2. Cube root is a raised to the power 1 over 3, and so on and so forth. All right, now next one, this one is very, very important. Square root of, a to the power of b over c is the same thing as c root of a times b. Let me give an example. So 64 to the power of 3 over 2. What does that mean? It means the square root, this is 2, right? So the square root of 64 to the power of 3. All right, so look at here, the c root of a then raised to the power of b. So here 2, since this is 2, so it's the second root, the square root of 64 to the power of 3. And the square root of 64 is 8 to the power of 3, whatever that is. I believe that is 5, 1, 2. Is that true? 6 times 6 is 64. Yes, I believe so. Alright, then fifth rule, if a squared equals b, then a equals plus or minus square root of b. So for example, let's look at that. 9 squared is 81, right? Right. Then sorry, let me look at this again. So 9 squared is 81, right? Then negative 9 squared is also 81. Did you see that? 9 squared is 81, negative 9 squared is also 81. So both 9 squared and negative 9 squared can give you 81. But the square root of 81 is only positive 9. Alright? The square root of 81 will only give a positive number, but you can square both the negative and the positive and they will give you the same 81. Alright? Then this rule, the sixth rule, the cube root of a negative number is always negative. So cube root of negative 27 is what? So that means what number will I multiply by itself 3 times to get negative 27? That is negative 3. Same thing, cube root of negative 8 is negative 2. The cube root of a negative number is always negative. Okay?